Halloween is supposed to be a day full of joy and happiness. But Halloween in this small village I visited a few weeks ago has a different story. In October, I visited a small village in Scotland. I wasn't particularly interested in going there, but something compelled me to go. One cold evening, I was searching for a haunted place to visit for Halloween. During my search, I found something that made me feel both strange and excited at the same time. I saw an ad for a place called Lavender. I decided to look it up, and what I found made me somewhat uneasy. There wasn't much written about this place, only one chilling line. Those who visit this village on Halloween rarely return. I was curious. Why do people rarely return from this village on Halloween? But there weren't many details available. As a lover of Halloween and a writer of horror stories, my curiosity piqued. I had to visit and witness it myself. I decided to go and see what was wrong with the place. I told my friends, and they agreed to join me. We arrived the night before Halloween. When we got there, we found no one. The streets were deserted, the shops were closed, and there was not a single soul in sight. It was as if no one lived there. There was no sound, not even from animals, just an eerie silence. The air was so cold that it felt like it would freeze us. Why is there no one here? Why is it so silent? Robert asked. I don't know, Robert. I'm wondering the same thing. Why is it so silent? And why isn't anyone here, especially with Halloween approaching, when people usually come out to celebrate? I replied. Stop thinking about it. Let's find a place to stay, Michael said. We started searching for accommodation, but everything was closed. Panic began to creep in as we wondered where we would stay for the night. Then suddenly, we saw a tall man in his 50s with a long beard. He looked at us and asked, What are you doing here? We came from London to explore this village, and we're looking for a place to stay, I answered. He mentioned that he ran a nearby inn and offered to let us stay there. At first, we hesitated, but we had no other choice. When we arrived at the inn, I asked, Can you tell me what's really going on here? He looked at me and replied in a low voice, What do you mean? There's nothing wrong here. Don't pretend you don't know. Tell us what happened in this village. Sir, it's a long story. I'll tell you later. First, let me show you to your room. The inn looked old, as if it hadn't been renovated in years. When he showed us our rooms, we were shocked. The ceilings looked like they could collapse at any moment. Where have you brought us? Robert asked. Is this your haunted place? It's more boring than haunted. I don't want to stay here at all. We have no other choice, so stop arguing, I replied. Though we didn't want to stay, we had no energy left after a long day. The place was uncomfortable, but as time passed, our mood changed. The people there were friendly, and they served us delicious Scottish food. After dinner, my friends said they were exhausted and wanted to sleep, but I wanted to learn more about this village. I told them, I'll be back in a bit. They agreed and went to their rooms. I sat on an old, comfortable chair near the fireplace in the bar and ordered some Scottish wine. I wanted to shake off my fatigue with a drink. The fire danced in front of me, and as the night wore on, the alcohol took effect. The sky turned dark, and the only light came from the fireplace. The only sound was the occasional crackling of the wood. Then, I remembered the story the innkeeper mentioned earlier. I called him over and asked about it again, but no matter how many times I asked, he only said one thing: I can't tell you right now. I was lost in thought, wondering what he was hiding, when suddenly a voice said, "I know the story." I turned and saw an old man sitting on a long chair by the fire. He had been there for some time, but I hadn't noticed him due to the alcohol. "Who are you?" I asked. "I am the village elder. I know the story he hesitates to tell. Do you want to hear it? But first, I have a few questions. Will you answer them?" "Yes," I replied. "Okay, my first question. Did you come here alone or with someone?" My second question. Did you come here after reading an article online?" "Yes," I answered. "But how do you know that? And why are you asking?" He smiled and said, "Lavender is not for the faint-hearted. This is one of those places that no one dares to visit. You are one of the few brave yet foolish ones who made the mistake of coming here. Many people come here because of that article, and they never return. Can you tell me the story?" "Yes, of course. I hope you take this story seriously so you don't meet the fate of those before you." Then, in a low, raspy voice that echoed through time, he began. The story dates back to the 17th century. This village was founded by refugees seeking shelter from a ruthless ruler who showed no mercy to those who resisted his oppressive beliefs. But their hopes of a peaceful life were shattered when October arrived. Mysterious disappearances plagued the village, and those found were strangled and disfigured. Fear consumed the once thriving community. A priest, a beacon of hope, revealed the presence of a cursed black valley a few miles from the village. He warned that evil spirits gathered there, their power peaking between October 30th and 31st. The only way to survive was to stay behind closed doors, for the spirits would stop at nothing to claim their prey. Every year, on those nights, the village falls silent. People lock themselves in, animals hide, and darkness takes over. In the eerie silence, the spirits roam, seeking any unfortunate soul to possess. His words painted vivid horrors, spirits that took many forms: a pleading woman, bloodthirsty wolves, or even a familiar friend. One thing is said about our village on Halloween: those who visit rarely return. Many who came before us ignored the warning and became victims. He hoped we wouldn't repeat their mistakes. His words haunted me. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't shake them. My writer's curiosity piqued, and in the end, I decided to see for myself. The next day, I told my friends everything and asked if they wanted to explore the village on Halloween night. They agreed. We were determined to prove the villagers wrong. As midnight struck, we stepped into the silent streets, our only light coming from our flashlights. Suddenly, someone approached us. "Hey guys, can I join you?" Michael asked. "Of course," I replied. We continued, noticing the shut doors, closed shops, and candles in windows. Michael laughed and called out, "Spirits, come out and face us." "Don't provoke them," I warned. Nothing happened until my phone rang. The caller ID showed Michael, but he was right next to us. Shocked, I answered. "Hello, guys. Where are you?" "What do you mean?" "You're with us," Robert said. "No, I'm at the inn. I was sleeping." If Michael was at the inn, who was with us? We turned. He was gone. That was just the beginning. What followed was beyond imagination. Spirits, shapeshifters, wolves with glowing eyes. We barely made it back. The village elder looked at us with pity. "I warned you. Now they know you're here." Now, as I write this, I can't shake the feeling that we are not safe. Even inside the inn, the spirits, denied their prey, seem to be closing in. Shadows dance, whispers fill the air. I don't know if we will return, but if you are reading this, please do not make our mistake. Do not come to Lavender on Halloween.